Hi guys, and welcome to the 2016 Belgian Grand Prix preview. Now, Belgium is round 13 of the 2016 Formula 1 season and the first race to kick off the second part of the season after the summer break. We hope you've had a great summer holiday or winter holidays. We know we haven't, struggling to get all the F1 debate show videos out. But Formula 1 is back and we are so excited. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. So the Belgian Grand Prix has been running at Spa-Francorchamps since the start of Formula 1 in 1950, but even before that, Spa-Francorchamps this year celebrates its 91st birthday, and alongside Silverstone, Monaco and Monza, it is one of 4 tracks in Europe which has been around since the inauguration of Formula 1 in 1950. 44 laps of Spa-Francorchamps is 2016's Belgian Grand Prix, with a race distance of 308 kilometres. The fastest time was set by Sebastian Vettel in his 2009 Red Bull with a time of 1 minute 47. There are 5 high-speed stretches at Spa with 3 slow turns and 2 ideal spots for overtaking. And they are the chicane at the end of the Kemmel Straight where Mercedes had their collision in 2014 and Max Verstappen's very famous and loved Blanchimont corner for the bus stop chicane in Sector 3. So they're the facts about Spa. Just an unbelievable circuit, the longest circuit on the calendar at 7k. So before we left the first part of the season, Lewis Hamilton was the leader of the World Championship with 217 points, 19 points ahead of his Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg. And Lewis Hamilton had won all 4 races in July and the most recent race of the first half of the season. Can he win in Belgium and basically do a Sebastian Vettel and win 9 in a row like he did in 2013, which I'm sure is Lewis's goal, isn't it, JT?
I believe it will be, Elsie, because as like you said, 4 in a row, won all of them in July. He's on massive form at the moment. A bit like what Nico Rosberg was towards the end of the season, and obviously he's lost that form. But now the drivers have had 3 weeks off. I've been following on their social media what they've been up to. They've been up to a lot. Mostly Lewis Hamilton, obviously if you follow him on Snapchat or Instagram or whatever, he's been doing quite a lot. So he's obviously not mainly too focused on preparing himself for the car or anything. He's just getting himself away, relaxed, come back in fresh. Let's see what the second half of the season brings. And I think we are going to be for a very, very close fight between these 2 drivers in Rosberg and Hamilton, because Rosberg lost the lead, 43 points, wiped out before you know it, blink and you miss it. Lewis Hamilton is now, as I said, I'll say 19 points in the lead. Now, Belgium has a lot of history between these 2 drivers, which we'll probably go into some other time. And again, we are going to be in for a close fight, especially between these 2. And I believe Rosberg, I don't think he's going to have upper hand for the first couple of races, because I think, obviously, Hamilton's on form. He thrives on this. He feeds off it. He loves it. And again, Lewis is going to continue, but I think Rosberg is also going to be working hard. I think he's worked probably a lot harder, I would have thought, than Hamilton over the summer break, because he knows himself that he's underachieved from Spain onwards. So he needs to pick up the form, pick up the pace, and make himself known as to what the driver he actually is, and close way back into the championship fight. So I'll probably favour Rosberg maybe towards Singapore onwards, I would say. But at the moment, for me, favourite wise, it will be Lewis Hamilton. I mean, the guy loves this circuit. For example, he's won it twice. He won it in 2010, and he also won it last season in 2015. And I think Rosberg, as far as I'm aware, hasn't even won this Grand Prix, so obviously not very good. So as obviously favourite Lewis Hamilton, and also Nico Rosberg as that. But as well, I think these 2 as well, they're starting to work together, because recently they've had collisions and that, and obviously criticism under the team. Signed new contracts, well, Nico Rosberg has anyway, so they need to work good close as a team towards the end of the closing stage of this season, the next part. But probably the most shocking stat for me is we're actually halfway through the season, Elsie.
We are.
Already, we're actually at Spa. I mean, it is just crazy how fast this season has went. It has been a good one. I mean, yes, both Mercedes have dominated the season, but I think we are going to be in for a very close end to the season, Elsie. Don't you think?
Yeah, very much so. I think it'd be great. I mean, obviously, it will be a Mercedes battle all the way through. Remembering that Mercedes have won all 12 races of last season, 11, with the only exception of Max Verstappen in the Red Bull breaking it up in Spain, only because they crashed. Now, I've got to remember, you've always got to remember that Mercedes could have made it 12 if they hadn't crashed. But there's really, I don't know why we even do these previews, because it's going to be Lewis all the way. I mean, unless there's a repeat of Spain 2016 or even Spa 2014, unless there's something like that, then I don't think you can count out Hamilton. Rosberg is he's cracking away. He's cracking away at that solid ice, which is Lewis. Will he get through for the end of the season? Well, I mean, it is close. But JT, just as you said, that you can't believe it's it's halfway through the season. I can't believe it's halfway through the season, and the gap is only 19 points. It's unbelievable. To think that in other years, well, for example, like 2013, let's say 2013 with Red Bull Racing, the gap would have been unbelievable from Sebastian Vettel to Mark Webber, another Red Bull, and then even Mark Webber, I think he still had a pretty sizable lead over third place and all that. Another stat that I always say is Sebastian took the lead Malaysia onwards, the second race of the season. But 19 points by round 13 is nothing, absolutely nothing. 19 points, that is.
That's like.
Well, I mean, if he wins, that's 6 points ahead. If he wins and Lewis retires or whatever, that's 6 points ahead. If Nico gets a second place and Lewis doesn't, and Lewis retires or gets no points, that's 1 point behind. You know what I mean? But anything is even like 10th place, 1 point is cracking away, and I think that we are still in. Don't rule this out, guys. Don't rule Mercedes out. Don't rule anything out.
Any of them, because I mean Hamilton would be favourite, but seriously, this is going to be a very, very tight end of the season. I think it is going to go.
Don't call them to win. But again, don't do a Leicester City and put all your money on like the outsiders like Max Verstappen and Daniel. Well, you could put your money on Max, but I've got to say you've got to realism. In
the real world, it's either Rosberg or Hamilton. But in our world, it's going to be Pascal Wehrlein.
But JT, we already had our Leicester City moment earlier this season with Max's win in Spain, didn't we?
Exactly. The underdog. Like who knew this kid would win? Where did he come from? Who invited him?
Yeah.
Come on.
Did you see him? Do you know who he is? I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is. Last time I checked, it was Danny Kivat at the wheel.
It was Daniel at Red Bull.
We need to lay off Danny Kivat.
That was our Leicester City moment. But speaking of Red Bull Racing, now they are incredibly close and probably one of the best positions to go after Mercedes, the drivers. Now, Max Verstappen obviously is a lover of this circuit. He did his unbelievable overtake of Felipe Nasr around Blanchimont. Now, this was an amazing overtake. Just one last thing, just one thing on this. This wasn't an amazing overtake just because of its, the balls of it. It was just because, well, firstly, last year I think it was the same day, earlier that same day, GP2, there was a massive crash at Blanchimont, and obviously Max would have seen that, internalised it, but to be 17 and to be a Toro Rosso driver that was an unbelievable thing to do. Might have been a bit scruffy, he got off the track a bit, which obviously, as we know from the regulations now, he might have looked at something like, time penalty or given the position back, but he did go off the track a bit, but it was still great. And so obviously he'll love this circuit, won't he, JT? And also his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, obviously his third and last win, the 2014 Belgian Grand Prix, Red Bull's third victory in 2014. 3 wins by Daniel and 3 wins for Red Bull, but none of them were Seb, which obviously was an unbelievable moment for Red Bull. I've got to say it was a turning point. That was a turning point. We all say the 70s was a turning point in life. Red Bull's 2014 was a turning point for that, but is it getting better? We hope so. JT, Max and then Daniel and Red Bull as a whole, how do you think they can get on in Spa?
I think very well, if I'm honest. Red Bull have definitely shown promise in the last few races, especially since probably employing Max Verstappen. Such young drivers, like you said, that overtake of Blanchimont, absolutely superb. It was dubbed overtake of the season, probably one of the best overtakes ever in Formula 1. It was absolutely incredible. As I said, Daniel Ricciardo won this race in 2004 in his third and currently his last win in F1. So these two drivers know the circuit well. They know the best overtaking spots. Unfortunately, they don't have the pace to catch the Mercedes. But should Mercedes have a problem, as like we said, every preview, Red Bull is definitely going to be the team. I can see them getting a 1-2 in our world. As like I said, Red Bull definitely getting a 1-2. Yes, the car isn't up to pace, but they certainly are going to beat the likes of Ferraris and Williams and stuff. So I'm excited. I'll probably expect a challenge from pole position from Daniel Ricciardo. I'll probably pick him the favourite if anyone else to actually get pole position, to actually go for it. You know what I mean? We might even get P2 and short us all, go and sandwich the Mercedes. So I expect big things for Red Bull.
It is amazing to think.
Big things for.
There's one last thing, JT. Only a very small thing, but you might want to read into it. if you want. Remember, this time last year was Red Bull and Renault's big fight when the engine deal was about to be scrapped, and also when talks broke down for Lotus to be overtaken by Renault.
Exactly.
So obviously, 2015 Belgian Grand Prix, Renault, Red Bull and Renault not friends. Yeah. 2016 Red Bull and Renault / Tag Heuer are best of buddies because they're going to be engine suppliers again. Oh. Do you think that's got any impact on the mentality of both teams, Renault Sport and also Red Bull? I think it's got to change on their mentalities.
I don't know, if I'm honest, because as like you said, there was a massive, explosion of an argument, and then like literally a year later, they shook hands and agreed another 2-year deal. So
the best buddies, and
not a Tag Heuer engine, like branded engine. It's actually a Renault engine. So
it is.
I'm really, really confused at that. But that's I don't know what I expect next season. But let's not forget that Lotus actually, at this stage when they rejected that they came on the podium, Romain Grosjean.
They did. It's amazing.
In 2015. But more on that later. So next team I'm going to preview is the most successful team at this circuit, which is Ferrari. 16 wins at this circuit. Absolutely fantastic. And normally I would start with their main man, Sebastian Vettel. But I'm actually going to start with the most successful driver on the current grid at this circuit, which you probably, obviously, if it's not Seb, then it's obviously going to be Kimi Räikkönen. He's actually won this Grand Prix 4 times, and whenever you Spa, you always think of Kimi Räikkönen. Whenever you think of Kimi Räikkönen, you always think of, anything really. It could be anything. Ice cream, Spa, Ferrari.
Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. Famous quotes, you know what I mean? And I'm going to take it Ferrari again. These are rubbish, guys. That's me being honest with you. What else can I say? What else can I say about
You're
Ferrari
wearing
that
them.
hasn't been said? You know what I mean? Sorry, Ferrari fans. I'm wearing a Ferrari shirt for today's episode, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be nice about them, because they're just... Oh, man. Like, really, pull your hair out time, guys. I hope you have done your homework and your research to actually do well from Belgium up until the last race in Abu Dhabi. I will be keeping a very close eyes on you this weekend. I'll be looking at your practice laps, I'll be looking at your qualifying laps, I'll be looking at your race pace, I'll be looking at your everything else. Especially your strategy. Make sure you play that right, because Ferrari needed to do well at some point. Take the fight to Red Bull, make it a very close end to the season. So yes, Kimi Räikkönen won this race in 2004, 2005, 2007, and most recently in 2009. And obviously, he isn't going to win this Grand Prix. However, though, I do think he might throw a bit of surprises, maybe in qualifying. I'm not necessarily saying Q3. I might say it might come P1 and Q2, or maybe even Q1. When the teams aren't really as trying, or maybe in practice sessions. I'll probably think Kimi Räikkönen would be, at least up there, maybe just ahead of the Red Bulls, perhaps maybe in practice or qualifying. But when it comes to the proper stuff like Q3 in the race, I think that's where we'll probably see Ferrari fall away, because that seemed to be a bit of a tradition, a bit like in a bigger scale throughout the season. Pre-season was ace, then all of a sudden, just as the season went on, they just really declined and everything went horribly wrong. Expect that. But on the other side of the garage, Sebastian Vettel, who as I also said just before, this is where he started his 9th race winning streak in 2013. So. I don't think that'll ever be repeated for a long, long time. He's not going to do it this time, unfortunately. Sorry, Seb. But he has won this Grand Prix 2 times, in 2011 and 2013. And I'm not really expecting big things from him. To be fair, it's not very often you see Kimi Räikkönen ahead of Sebastian Vettel. However, this weekend, I think you are. I think you not. I don't know about the race, but certainly in practice and qualifying, I believe Kimi will be ahead of Seb. Maybe even the race. Maybe Kimi might finish ahead of Seb. That's my prediction. I don't know what yours is about Ferrari. You know what I mean? I mean, two very talented drivers, and obviously when Kimi Räikkönen signed that contract, at Ferrari, loads of eyebrows were raised and questions were asked, and what's going on? You know what I mean? And I believe Kimi will probably shut the critics up and just show, you know what, I'm still the Iceman. I can get ahead of Sebastian Vettel, because Sebastian Vettel is out of form a little bit, so Räikkönen can maybe just boost a little bit, get more team support and push on, especially at this Grand Prix. If he can do well here, then he should do well maybe in the next 2 or 3 races, because after this weekend we'll go to Italy, where these two, obviously both very popular drivers, both have won there, and both was it Tifosi, so who knows? I mean, LC Ferrari.
I mean, I think they're definitely in it. Kimi's stats around here are unbelievable. Also, to mention, just a minor mention, honourable mention for that, in 2012, Kimi Räikkönen in the Lotus Renault was battling with Max Schumacher in the Mercedes for a good few laps, and then did one of the best overtakes. This is probably a bit extravagant to say for 2012, but he did a great overtake at Eau Rouge, which obviously is a fantastic corner, where he went flat out again, a bit like Max Verstappen around Blanchimont, and obviously it's Max Schumacher, the 7-time. He is the more successful around Spa at 6, but obviously on the grid it is Kimi. So Michael unfortunately isn't on the grid. Isn't on the grid at the moment. But the stats from Kimi is unbelievable, and the F1 Racing magazine, which I have not got with us, but the new one, I'll just go and get it. I'll just show you guys what the headlines is.
So I've got it, but I haven't opened it.
So we have the Kimi. So it's about this. Basically, is about Kimi in Spa, and that's, if he's got a front page in it, that's unbelievable. Yeah. To say that, is he gonna win? What's he gonna do around Spa? A waste of a red seat? Well, no, not at all. Yeah. Maybe it's Spa. Maybe this race is where he turns it around. He shows everyone that it isn't a waste. He is there. He is to stay, and it's great to see Kimi. I'm really excited to see what he can do in this race. But he's back at Ferrari, which obviously, he can go on to, and can he repeat something that happened in 2009? 14, the car wasn't there. 15, he was being a bit outshone by Seb. Obviously, you remember Seb again. He'd won twice at Hungary and Malaysia, or Malaysia and Hungary, I should have said, in chronological order, and then obviously go on to win at Singapore. So he was a bit outshone by them. Yeah. Obviously, the Red Bulls were a bit slacker there, and the Mercedes were just ran off in the distance. So Ferrari were comfortable in the second place teams, but now I think they're back. Kimi is back, and the waste of a red seat is what one of the quotes was. No, I don't think so. Kimi is there. I think Kimi could do amazing things, and you have to find out in the predictions what myself and what JT think where he'll finish. But I've got to say, I think it's strong. On the other side of the garage, though, Sebastian, as it is 9 in a row, he kicked off in 2013. Well, I don't think that's ever going to happen again, even though Rosberg was close.
Not close enough.
But he wasn't too close. Hamilton took him out in revenge. But I don't know what Sebastian can do around this track, really. I mean, it's almost like he's being fed the car. I'm not counting Sebastian in this. He might just have a minor points position, but not much to say about Ferrari, really. See, as JT said in many of the videos that we had the first part of the season, and obviously that you've known from seeing in the races, Ferrari just aren't there. They aren't on form. They aren't pace-wise, stuff like that. Which is a shame, because the last thing I'm going to say on Ferrari, JT, is that if if Ferrari were, on top as they were, or let's say just average amount of pace, like they were in 2012 and 2013, Kimi, I think, could do amazing things. He could even maybe challenge for the win, and that would be amazing to see. Just absolutely unbelievable. So let's move on to a team. Let's move on to the Williams team. Now, they don't really have much. They have a lot of history around this track because, again, they're an old team, but they don't really have massive, especially in modern day, with their drivers, and there's not really much massive history to say. The two drivers that they have on the grid, Brazilian driver Felipe Nasr and Finnish driver Valtteri Bottas, have just had average races around Spa. But to think that the demands of Spa is very fast flowing, obviously you've got 5 high streets stretched, obviously you've got the Kemmel Straight, and you've got some amazing fast corners like Eau Rouge and Blanchimont. Williams haven't really been on it, so I think that obviously JT says a lot that Ferrari are relying on strategic, pit stops and not strategical things. They're relying on those kind of things. I think that's what Williams do. But the last thing, though, on Williams, I mean, if they're relying on strategic, capabilities to go forward, then that's going to happen because, as I said, they have won the pit stop award for the fastest pit stop. Something like, nearly almost, I think it is actually every single round. The big caption on the F1 Racing is gone in 1.89 seconds. So, Williams are unstoppable. If that's what they're relying on, then that could happen. JT, Williams, what do you think for this race?
Nothing much really, because Williams, as I said, have fell foul of expectations this season. As I said, probably the only positive they can really take from this season so far is the fast pit stops. Because, as I said, they have fallen so far behind the top 3 in Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari compared to what they have in the past 2 seasons. It's just there hasn't really been much to shout about Williams. Haven't got as many podiums. They haven't got as many. Got no wins. So when to be fair, they've had a car where they are capable of winning, but we have had 3 weeks off for the drivers to be refreshed, for the teams to go away to the families, have a bit of time out, go back, learn the car, so have a massive meeting and go, right guys, what do we need to do to improve? And Williams need to be one of them teams where right guys, you've had 1.5 weeks off, you're coming in early because we need to sort this out, because a team like Williams should be at the front challenging for World Championships. And obviously since the V6s have came in, you've had one team each year pushing themselves forward. Like you had Mercedes in 2014, then you had Mercedes Ferrari in 2015. Then now this season you've got Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, and hopefully maybe next season Williams can make themselves known and put themselves into the ring. And I'm literally expecting nothing from Williams this weekend. I hope I'm proven wrong, but literally I'm expecting nothing exciting, nothing major, nothing. Anything that to be surprised about, you know what I mean? 4 times winners around here. Last win was in 1994. So that's nearly 23 years ago or so. I think it was 23 years ago or something, 22 years ago. So it has been a long time coming at this particular circuit. But as like I said, I'm expecting nothing from this team this weekend. So there hasn't really that been much to say. So next team is my team, McLaren. And I am absolutely bricking it for this weekend because it's Spa, and who obviously second most successful team at this circuit with 14 wins. Last win coming in 2012, courtesy of Jenson Button, and since then, since that season rather, it hasn't really gone our way. But
no, never.
On the other side of the page, we are bringing some very major upgrades, let's say, to this weekend, so I'm excited to see what we can produce from there. But Spa is it's high speed, it's good for corners and stuff. It's the faster cars are going to thrive at this circuit. A team like McLaren, whose straight line speed is poor, it's not going to work. I think I can't even see us getting into Q3. I really can't, because the car is so low on power. It's faster than last season, yes, but when me and Elsie were recording our half-term report, which failed massively, by the way, guys. When I was looking at the stats, and they were surprisingly a lot lower than what I thought, because I thought McLaren's performances this season was really good. But when I looked at the stats, I was going, bloody hell, Alonso's only scored 3 times this season. Jensen's had 4 retirements or something. I think Alonso's had 3 or 4. I think he's had 3 or something, and obviously Verstappen's no points. So it has been really, really poor. But on a whole, we are on the rise at the moment. But this season, for all you McLaren fans as well, I think the next 2 races are going to be really poor for McLaren, really, really poor, because again Monza is exactly the same. High speed is massive there, so it isn't going to work. Jenson Button came out in the summer break, and he did say something about obviously the contract extensions and stuff. That he's going to probably, I think, wait about September time. I think he said so next month, about his future in Formula 1 as well. Alonso has also came out prior to the Belgian Grand Prix, and he considered how he could leave Formula 1 next season should the rules change and everything else like that. So a bit of confusion coming into this weekend for both sides of the garage. But I think the drivers need to really stay away from the media and sort of focus on this weekend in particular and try it the best they possibly can. But they're not going to get anything this weekend. I really, really doubt. As like I said, Q2 is probably the best we're going to get this weekend. Teams like Toro Rosso and Force India around us are going to do better, and that's bad coming from a McLaren fan like myself. But that is it's realistic, isn't it, Elsie? I mean, what do you think about McLaren? Do you think that they can do well, or do you agree?
No.
No.
I mean, McLaren are always improving, always. They're always making small gains. But obviously, since Jensen's win, let's say, obviously, remember Jensen's second off last win was Belgium 2012, an unbelievable victory by him. Then 13, terrible. 14, okay. 15 was their 15. I'd say it was their worst year since around the early 80s. Just unbelievably terrible. They're always on the rise, McLaren, but I can't say anything else. But I think what's realistic from them is looking at points finishes for both of them. And now, as I say, obviously points go all the way down to 10th place. So both of them in the points, that's maybe realistic. Unlike JT, I think I have more of a spur for McLaren. I'm more behind them. When we did our half-term report, I did look more into McLaren and stuff like that. So yeah, Q3 possibly. I'm not sure. It depends what happens in the first 3 practice sessions. It depends, when we can see them, what they're doing, how they're performing, to say, what will happen for qualifying and for the race. But qualifying aside, though, whatever happens in the race, I think everything needs to go perfect. And if both McLarens can get in the points, even if it's 10th place, 1 point for Fernando, and 9th place and 2 points, is it 2? Yeah, 2 for 9th for Jensen or Alonso, whichever driver I didn't say just a few seconds ago. That would be fantastic for them, and that's really all I can say about McLaren. On the rise, on the up, but obviously doing it very slowly. I will always say this about McLaren, and I'll say this until the day I die. About Williams, it took Williams 8 years to win. They won in 2004, then they won in 2012. So basically, McLaren have 8 years to win. From 2012, they had 8 years. 8 years from 2012 is 2020. JT, that is 4 years. Come on, you can wait that long.
I cannot wait 4 years for another win.
It will happen.
Oh.
So basically, Brazil 2020. Yeah, that's when. Brazil 2020. If they win before Brazil 2020, then yeah, everything's all fine. Everything's done.
No, I think we need to sign past Maldonado. That's what we need to do.
Everything is all fine, JT. There was none of the 8 years matters if they win before Brazil 2020. So one of the next team and one of the last teams we're going to mention in this preview is Toro Rosso, the feeder team of Red Bull Racing. Obviously, that we all remember Max Verstappen's unbelievable overtake, but that was more the driver than the car. But Toro Rosso do quite well around here. In 2012 and 2013 was Jean-Eric Vergne and Daniel Ricciardo were 2 very strong years. I think it was 2012 they made some considerable gains in that race, and it was just probably one of the best teams to watch, especially in 2012 when most of the drivers had been taken out for reasons we don't know about, do we, JT? Why did McLaren and Ferrari not to do that race in 2012? But we're going to add in a bit. But yeah, Toro Rosso doing very well. But they're back with Carlos. They stay with Carlos, and they are back with whoever Daniel Kvyat is. Whoever that is.
Whoever that is, I don't know.
Is that you? Is that you? Are you Daniel Kvyat?
Yes, I am Daniel Kvyat.
So yeah, they're back with him. So what can he do? I've got to say though, it would be very sad because he did this track in 2014. He did this track in 2015 with Red Bull Racing, which by the way he did some good overtakes. He did one on the Kemmel Straight on. I've forgotten who it was, but he did a good one on that. What counted as one of the best overtakes of the season. I can't offer this. It's someone big though. It might have even been Vettel, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but obviously he did very well on this track. But yeah, back with Toro Rosso. I don't think there's much to count about them. Carlos could maybe sneak into the points, but I can't count much for Daniel, only because he's on a bit of a downer, physically in the car, and obviously on a mental state, as we saw in Germany, obviously being hit, being kicked down, and all of his bullets that he's taken along the process. So JT, Toro Rosso?
Toro Rosso's chances this weekend, I'll probably say high. As I was saying before, McLaren don't have a good chance, but in replacing them, definitely going to be Toro Rosso. Obviously, Carlos Sainz, well, Danny Kvyat, like I said, he's on a massive downer right now. He needs to sort himself out. He's had 3 weeks off to watch Game of Thrones, chill out, forget all about it, and he's got another, I think it's 9 races left. So let's see how he does. Don't quote Danny Kvyat. One half of the season, that's over and done with. That's written in history now. We've got another 9 to go. 9 to go. Come on, guys, 9 races left.
Come on.
Oh, I'm not liking this whatsoever. But I'll obviously favour Carlos Sainz. I believe he's going to do well this weekend. Q3 appearance, definitely. Danny Kvyat, probably Q2 appearance. Dependent, again, if there's any faults in the car. Actually, depends if it's raining. I've totally forgot about it raining. Maybe McLaren do have a chance. If it rains.
Do you know rain, JT?
It always rains in Spa. I did forget about that.
It does.
Oh dear. But anyways, I've already made my predictions. But, so yes, Toro Rosso, probably at least maybe a Q3 appearance by one of the drivers, mostly Carlos Sainz, but I mean, who knows. Danny Kvyat, I can't see him getting that far, unfortunately. Sorry to any Danny Kvyat fans. Sorry.
But, sorry.
But I just want to briefly mention, just before we end talking about the team,
briefly.
I do want to say a happy debut to Esteban Ocon, who will be making his Manor debut, or more importantly, his Formula 1 debut.
Yes, more
with
important.
Manor Racing replacing the outgoing Rio Haryanto.
So guys, thank you very much for watching our 2016 Belgian Grand Prix preview. GT's camera just cut out a few minutes before we actually ended. We've just given our predictions, so I'm just going to say them now. GT's predictions was in first place for the winner of the Belgian Grand Prix to be Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton. In second place would be Red Bull driver Daniel Ricciardo, obviously 2014's winner. And in third place, Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg. Two Mercedes drivers on the podium, and obviously 2014's winner from Red Bull Racing. My predictions for the Belgian Grand Prix will be in first place Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton. Also, I don't think you can count out him after the amazing form he is on. In second place, I'm going for a Mercedes 1-2, obviously his teammate Nico Rosberg. And in third place, I'm also going to say a Red Bull driver, but I'm going for Max Verstappen. I feel he's on a better form than Daniel, and I think he could podium in Spa, which would be amazing. So thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. Please catch all of our other videos that are coming out for the second part of the season, including our F1 debate show on Saturday in the middle of the Belgian Grand Prix weekend. And we will see you in the next video. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.